Well, Joel, first of all, nice to have a catch-up with you on an interesting subject that the EFL's putting together in terms of looking at young footballers, being footballers, and also their education that they've gone through before. And you're a prime example of where we are now at the moment, because you've reached first team standard and first team squad level. But let's turn the clock back then a few years to your first junior school, and how was it? What can you remember about it?
Obviously, I joined school when I was 4 at Rayburn and just completed that, and then I had to pass a test in year 6 to get to grammar school. Did that, didn't do football much in school, played rugby all throughout school. Got good results in the end, and ended up getting a scholarship and then finished my education in college in Receive.
Was football always at the back of your mind, even at the young age of 4, going in at junior school?
Yeah, well, I always obviously knew that football was the end goal, but I prioritised my education throughout my school years. So by the time like 13, 14, I always knew that I wanted to do well in the school first, and then obviously football would just hopefully naturally succeed.
Obviously, when you're a real junior, you know, from when you first started junior school, it'd be a bit of fun type of thing, football, and playing all sorts of games. But when you reach that next level of education, was that the time that you really thought that this was the career for you, being a footballer?
By the age of 14, when I started to grow properly, that's when football's a bit more serious. And at 14 as well, I stopped playing rugby because we played football on Saturday, so football was my number one thing really by that age. And then since then I've just focused on it more and more. So
while we're talking about sport, let's switch and talk to other subjects at school. What were you like, or weren't you interested?
Yeah, to be fair, compared to some of the lads here, I was focused on school quite a lot. I've had conversations with them, some of them didn't really care, but I enjoyed school, and then, you know, when the time's right I left, but I'll do it again if I could. I enjoyed school, and you know, I cared about my results quite a lot, so yeah.
What were the teachers like then, knowing that you possibly could become, you know, potentially a scholarship footballer and then into the academy and into the pro game where you are now? What were those teachers like? What did you remember of them?
To be fair, no one really knew about me playing football. I didn't really tell people, but my school didn't really like football. Some of them didn't really, so if I told them about getting a scholarship or something, some of the teachers would maybe doubt me or say like, do you want to do that as a career? You might not make it and stuff like that. So some of them didn't really agree with it and wanted me to focus more on school.
How frightening is that when you just mentioned that some of them don't make it, and how frightening was it to you? And you know, what sort of advice did you get from your family?
Well, you know, with football, there's not really much of a chance of making it, so that's why I focused on school in case I didn't. I've got that to fall back on, but try your hardest and hopefully you succeed and get a contract and carry on when you're older. So that's what I've done, yeah.
Just take us through the pathway then. When did you arrive at Crewe?
So I was at Liverpool from 4, got released when I was 11, and then came to the Crewe straight away, got signed, and since I was 11 I've been at Crewe, so about 7 or 8 years. It's
a dream, obviously, to be a professional footballer, but I think you went through some dark times as well around that, you know, just as you turned a teenager. How did you cope with that when you probably thought, this is not for me?
Yeah, well, obviously I got released when I was 11, and I came to Crewe, and by the age of about 12, 13, I wasn't really that confident because of that, and I tried leaving the club, and the club said, we want you to stay, and then that sort of boosted me a bit, and then after that I just kicked on more. But, you know, at the time, I didn't really have much confidence and thought I wanted to give up, so, yeah. What
advice would you give to, you know, somebody back, like in your day when you were young and you're now 18 years of age and where you are? What advice would you give to the real young boys who are trying to become footballers? Everybody wants to become a professional footballer, don't they?
Yeah, I'd say just try your hardest, obviously, that's the number one, and then try and express yourself as much as you can, show confidence on the pitch, and if you have the ability, you know, that will come across the coach and stuff like that and help you progress if you're good enough. Just show what you can do.
Well, I think in this conversation we're having, you could see what it means to you to do your educational work.
Yeah, well, obviously, at that age, and if you don't agree with school, obviously trying your hardest, but school should be quite important, I think, to most people, but obviously try hardest in football and school if you can.
there are a lot of side attraction, isn't there,
Yeah.
for the young footballer. You know, everybody dreams of where it might take you to. How do you cope with that? You know, how do you sort of work through, you know, not going off the rails, basically?
Well, it's just about staying humble, you know. Don't get happy if you're doing well, stuff like that. Just keep going, and you know, don't start acting different once you start succeeding. Just keep to what you know. Stay with your family, stuff like that.
Is it all about being level-headed? Because it's grown again, where we bring it right up to date now. You know, a regular member of the first team setup.
Yeah, well, you know, you've never made it. I've gotten to 30 now, but there's people that are in like higher levels than me, so you can always improve. You can always get better. So you shouldn't really settle for where you're at, really. Yeah.
What's it been like for you though, this particular season?
Yeah.
You know, where you are, you know, coming into the end of the year.
Yeah, well, I've been waiting to get in the first team this season, really, and I've took my chance and I've just enjoyed it. It's a lot better than the first team. You know, wins are better, losers hurt more, but it's more realistic, so obviously it's the best thing you can be doing at the moment.
And again, once again, it shows what the football club's all about. You're one of a few again out of this next group that's making first team level.
Yeah, it's not just me, you know, Charlie and Zach, Conor Reardon, who's on loan, he's played first team, and there's other people my age that are close to the first team, which doesn't really happen up and down the country, but at this club, you know, it happens all the time.
So when you turn the clock back to all the work that you've done at the schools, and you've been to a school that played rugby, and now you're into professional football, it's like that dream come true. But as you say, I suppose it's the hard work, it's just really starting again.
Yeah, exactly. It's a new page now. I can focus fully on football, so hopefully I put all my work into it, it'll pay off even more than what it has done already.
And there's just been a change in the management team. We all know about that, but it's down to you, the players, to get the results. That all sorts itself out.
Well, Alex and Lee both have the same thoughts on how we want to play, so nothing's changed there. It's just down to us to try our hardest every game and try and keep getting results.